everybody. This is Global Warming Skeptic, and we are here to do another little rant. Now, following the debate coverage, following the debates, I heard a comment on a liberal channel called The David Pakman Show saying that Republicans want, they are racists, or they appear to be racist. So, here's the thing. Democrats have this thing about this subliminal, this subtle racism, where the Republicans aren't outwardly racist, they're inwardly racist. It's some kind of subconscious thing. People don't realize that they're racists, but they are. We're going to take a look at that. So, first of all, let's take a rundown of both positions. I don't think anybody is a racist, first of all. Let's just throw that out the window right now. I'm from just south of Detroit in a very heavy black populated area. I know what racism is. Let me tell you right now. But the positions. Democrats, their solution to racial equality is give special privileges to minorities in order to push them, give them a shove to the top because they're disadvantaged and they need a push, otherwise, they're never going to get there because they're already far behind. Excuse me. I'm going to be doing that a lot this episode because my throat's dry. Anyhow, the Republican position is that it is better to exercise pure equality, and the Democrat position is just putting minorities into a special group once again, which was the very problem with racism to begin with. That's not to say Democrats are racists, but they are not solving the problem. And indeed, there are some black people who have written books specifically about this thing. But what we're going to explore here, we're not going to get into spin. I have two Excel sheets here, and we're going to do some math. We're going to go into the numbers of this according to the U.S. Census. We're going to be going into the white versus black income ratio. This is median income, so this is not including Uncle Tom's or Koch brothers. This is pure median income. The rich are virtually canceled out when you look at medians. So, let's have a look at this. And you could do these numbers for yourself, but I'm going to give you the numbers right here. And we'll even do a couple too, just to verify my math. Now, the U.S. average, these are the blacks. I didn't write the whites down because it wasn't important, but I'll show the whites here in a second. Now, this is the national median income for blacks. Pure black, we're not talking about mixed or special characteristics like they do in the census. 35,000 for the U.S. on average. 39,000 for New England, 31,000, and all that. And you'll see this reflected in the right side Excel thing. What we're looking at, we're not looking at black AOIC, we're looking at black alone because that is where you get the most extreme differences. And here we're looking at 2014. This is for the U.S. This is for the Midwest. This is for the South, and so on and so forth. And so what you end up with are the following ratios. You end up with a ratio of 1.606 to 1. That's the U.S. average. 1.578 is the average for the Northeast, the New England states, essentially. They're slightly better than a national average. And I think we could go a little bit into detail for these numbers. We can speculate, but until I get more detailed numbers, and there will be more detailed numbers in the future. Um, we won't get into specifics, but here's an alarming one. In the Midwest, the white to black income ratio is median 1.829, which is where the U.S. average gets pulled above everything else. And then you get the average for the South, and this is the big thing. Now, just so you know, the South doesn't include the necessarily the traditional South. The census includes Oklahoma and Texas into the South. So it's important to recognize that this is even including Texas, the state that is declared the most unequal, um, which has the second largest population in this. Texas, Florida, and Georgia are the largest populations, and look at this 1.503, the lowest white to black income ratio in the nation. So there's a long way to go in equalizing things out, and politics is slowing things down significantly. But in general, what this shows is the South is equalizing things a lot better than the North or the liberal states. As far as the Midwest goes, we can speculate a little bit as to why this number is high. First of all, I got to be fair. The Great Plains states are included, but they're also so low in population compared to the other Midwest states that they can barely be accounted for. If you look at metro area populations, the Detroit, Chicago, Cleveland, Columbus, Indianapolis, they're about a little over a quarter, or they're about a quarter of the Midwest's population. And these are where the minorities are severely affected. And of course, you also have St. Louis, because Missouri is also listed in the Midwest. You got Missouri, which has St. Louis, huge city in Kansas City. And so, what I'm getting at here is that the cities where minorities are doing the worst are the most unequal. And I don't think you need this ratio to even say that. All these welfare, these let's push them, let's give them a shove to get them ahead, it's not working. Well intentioned or not, it doesn't work. The numbers don't lie here, folks. When you treat people equally, when you say, yes, you can do it, and yes, you can do it with equality, you don't have the brain of an orangutan or an ape. You are a human being. You just have a little bit more melanated skin than the rest of us. You can do it. And that's just a point lost, because, and this is really the sad thing, because there is a racism component left in liberals, and it's not intentional on their part, but by supporting these things, what you are saying is that they are inferior. They can't, you are saying they cannot go to the DMV and get an ID. You are saying that they cannot score the same as a white man on an SAT. You are saying they can't get the grades that white people get in schools, and thus their standards must be lowered. And so, this is where we're at. We're at an area where the problems to solve racial issues are working better in the South than they are in the North. I will have more numbers on this. I am not done with this subject, because the more that racism gets called, and a lot of it's trolling too, even by the media. It's trolling and it's to control policy and it's to get votes. That's the bottom line. Because nobody is a racist. No rational person is a racist in this country, at least at a rate higher for whites than blacks. There are racist people, that is true. But there are racist people in all aspects. It's not just white on black. But here's what I'm getting at, and I really want to leave the imprint on this final message, which is the most important message here. This is working. 1.503, 1.578 is not working. You're barely below the national average, and that's only because the Midwest is so horrible. Thanks for listening. God bless.